our District 228 regular board meeting to order. Can I get roll call, please?
Mrs. Gleason here, Mrs. List, Mrs. Lott. Here. Ms. Motley. Here. Mrs. Stearns. Here. Mr. Whitcomb.
Here.
Mrs. Dressler.
Here, please stand for the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, moving on to board minute approval. Can I get a motion to approve the May 21st, 2024 regular meeting minutes?
So moved.
Second. Moved by Mr. Whitcomb, second by Ms. Motley. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Whitcomb.
Aye.
Ms. Motley.
Aye.
Mrs. Gleason, aye. Ms. Lott.
Aye.
Mrs. Stearns. Aye. Mrs. Dressler.
Aye. May I get a motion to approve the June 11th, 2024 committee of the whole and closed meeting minutes?
So moved.
Second. Moved by Ms. Gleason, second by Ms. Motley. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Gleason, aye. Ms. Motley.
Aye.
Ms. Lott.
Aye.
Mrs. Stearns. Mr. Whitcomb.
Aye.
Mrs. Dressler.
Aye. Moving on to our superintendent report.
Thank you, Mrs. Ressler. I just want to compliment and commend Mr. Matt Meany. He's done a really, really great job filling in for Dr. Rosinski while she's been on maternity. He speaks volumes of his leadership and his team that we were able to transition him, for really the better part of a year. And just thought he really did a nice job, and I'm proud of the work that he did, and I want to thank him for that. Thank you.
All right, moving on to our principal reports.
Hello, I think you only get me tonight.
Yeah.
And today's been a really good day. I don't know if you have had the opportunity to look at some of our social media. I kind of had a little trip down memory lane. Some of my former basketball players from the class of 1988 got together along with the class of 1989. We both had two pretty successful seasons when we were here, and our former coach, 85-year-old Jay Lundy, who was a Hillcrest teacher, and then came to coach basketball at Tinley when I was a student here. Everyone was back in town, and we had a little gathering and had the opportunity to meet them up here this afternoon and take them on a tour of our fabulous facilities that many of them are from out of town and haven't seen. I still get tickled by it when, people get excited, because I still get excited. And the field houses and all the new improvements have been here now for, a handful of years. And it never fails. I still walk down to the field house and I feel like I'm on an HGTV show or something when I open the field house door. I'm like, come in and look and see what we have, So again, thank you to our board for all of that, and our graduates had a great time. So we definitely will have more social media followers, which Yasmin will be happy to hear, because they were all excited to see some pictures. But in addition to that, the past, let's talk about the present and obviously our future here. And tonight is about celebrating our hardware that sits in the middle of your table there with our girls track team attaining the third place in state in the Class 2A track finals. And these are some of our fabulous young ladies. Some are at summer, a couple are in France, I hear, which is kind of fun. And some are just on vacation. But I'd like to introduce our athletic director, Mike Mongan, to come up here and help us introduce the fabulous team here.
So she didn't tell me I'd be presenting, that's why I have my shorts on. But, yeah, May was a unbelievable month for these young ladies in the track team, and of course, Coach Tabor, our head coach. It was a lot of running around. It was a little bit of organized chaos there for a little bit with everything else that was finishing prom, senior honors night, everything. Conference night was senior honors night. They were at Oak Forest for conference. They won the conference meet. That was the first time since 2009. I won't tell you who that coach was. But 2009, then they went the following week and won back-to-back sectional championships, IHSA sectional championships at Hillcrest. And then, of course, the following week was unbelievable and took third place in the state. And I will say that it was, they would have more to say about it, but I just being there for 2 out of those 3, especially at state, it was an amazing feat for sure. We had a state champion hurdler. We had which makes her all state. She also took 3rd in the 100 hurdles. We had a girl who took 3rd in the 400, which made her all state. I'm going to introduce you to a couple other girls that are all state as well. As Dr. Nolan said, those girls actually are in France, which is ridiculously awesome. But let me introduce these girls in no particular order. I'm just going to go right down from the end, and kudos to all of them because they had a great season. This is Jade Cross, senior, well graduated senior. Natalie Gomez, who was all state. She was on our 4x1 relay. Abby Simmons, who's a freshman. Janiyah Caldwell, who actually went into a new event this year, which was the hurdles, which was great. Brooke Becker, who's a junior, who was also a state qualifier. Yakaira Wilder, she is a junior, and she took 5th in the shot put, which made her all state. Which, like I said, they can speak more on that on another day, but they did an amazing job, and hard work pays off, as you know, and these girls are part of that. The nice thing is, with the few that are missing that are out of the country, and a couple others that are on this team, they're young, which is nice. So I hope next year, no pressure, Coach Tabor, I hope next year we're here with a state championship trophy, which I think is definitely in the reach of these young ladies. So congrats and kudos to them. They're going to come on up and shake your hands, and we have a couple of medals for our board president and our superintendent. And
before we do that, I do want to say thank you to the parents that are
yes.
here and the board members. They were at honors night. You probably saw some girls running in to come and accept an award, and then literally running back to compete in another event. All of that coordination on behalf of you guys, all the driving back and forth, and making sure that we made as many things that we could make happen for these young ladies is a testament to your commitment to your families and your young ladies, and obviously to you guys as well. So it was always fun to be like, all right, when are they coming? Oh, here they come in the back, they run up, grab their award, get back out, and then they're able to accomplish this amazing, amazing feat. So ladies, come on up and introduce yourselves, and we have a couple medals to present to you as well. You go in front.
All in front of you.
You can take them.
In front.
Yeah, there you go. You won't make it behind. Yeah.
And then Jay, we're gonna actually go right in the hallway. Okay. Unless you have stuff in And I was gonna say they have to study, but I'm actually gonna take some pictures of them all. So they're gonna leave, but again, kudos to them. Coach Tabor, with all his hard work, you know, he has a staff of great people as well, and I know he would give them kudos as well, but thank you to all of you for making this possible for them, so.
And thank you for coming today, too. We're so proud of you for representing Tilling Park and our community so well. And best of luck to you, whether you graduate or you got another year. Thank you again for everything.
Thank you.
Here you go, Titans. Yeah, parents, don't feel bad.
I told the parents to not feel bad if I had to stay for the whole meeting.
Oh, no, no feeling sure. Thank you very much for that. Moving on to our FOIA request.
All right, thank you, Mrs. Ressler. Since the last regular board meeting, we have not received any freedom of information requests.
Any board member reports?
Oh, yeah, no, I was like.
So on behalf of my family, I just want to thank the district for just the kind expressions of sympathy to the flowers, cards in person. You thought about us, thank you. My grandpa wouldn't be a big fan of it, very humble, quiet guy. But he migrated from Mississippi in 1960, created roots in Harvey, raised 5 amazing children, and just created this lifelong legacy of just working hard and honoring your family. So he's always with me, and I strive to make him proud every day. So thank you all so much. Really, just thank you.
I'd just like to share that on Saturday, I attended the first IASB Board President's Academy, I think we called it. It was a
aware that at one point there was some legislation going on to eliminate the township treasurer, who handles all our billing, payroll, investments and such. Through a lot of work by the superintendents and scope, they got an amendment to that bill, and we protected our office, and in fact, the whole state is now going to mirror our method of handling the state treasurer's office, which is to have a school board member from every represented district sitting on the board that hires, fires, and oversees the office. So kudos to people who made that happen.
All right, moving on to new business, item 4.1, Dr. Sikora.
Thank you, Mrs. Wrestler. Item 4.1 are the bills, addendum to bills, payroll, and CDS bills. These items are recommended for full board approval.
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Motley, second by Ms. Gleason. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Ms. Motley?
Aye.
Mrs. Gleason, aye. Ms. Lot?
Aye.
Mrs. Stearns? Aye. Mr. Whitcomb?
Aye.
Mrs. Wrestler?
Aye. Item 4.2.
Item 4.2 is our insurance renewals, as discussed at last week's committee of the whole. This item is being recommended for full board approval.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Whitcomb, second by Ms. Lot. Any discussions? Roll call, please.
Mr. Whitcomb?
Aye.
Ms. Lot?
Aye.
Mrs. Gleason, aye. Ms. Motley?
Aye.
Mrs. Stearns? Aye. Mrs. Wrestler?
Aye. Item 4.3, Dr. Williams.
Thank you, Mrs. Wrestler. 4.3 is the consolidated district plan for the school year 24-25 as presented at committee of the whole. Superintendent is recommending the plan for full board approval.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Gleason, second by Mr. Whitcomb. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Gleason, aye. Mr. Whitcomb?
Aye.
Mrs. Lot?
Aye.
Mrs. Motley?
Aye.
Mrs. Stearns? Aye. Mrs. Wrestler?
Aye. Item 4.4.
4.4 are the school year 24-25 Title I plans for the district and all 4 schools. As presented at committee of the whole, the superintendent is recommending these plans for full board approval.
So moved.
Second. Moved by Ms. Motley, second by Ms. Lot. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Motley?
Aye.
Mrs. Lot?
Aye.
Mrs. Gleason, aye. Mrs. Stearns? Aye. Mr. Whitcomb?
Aye.
Mrs. Wrestler?
Aye. Item 4.5.
4.5 are the recurring costs for technology and software for teaching and learning. As presented at committee of the whole, the superintendent is recommending this for full board approval.
So moved.
Second. Moved by Mr. Whitcomb, second by Ms. Lot. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Whitcomb?
Aye.
Mrs. Lot?
Aye.
Mrs. Gleason, aye. Mrs. Motley?
Aye.
Mrs. Stearns? Aye. Mrs. Wrestler?
Aye. Item 4.6.
4.6 are additional section requests, 1 semester of advanced composition for Oak Forest, and then 5 unnamed sections to be used only if necessary. These are being recommended for full board approval.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Gleason, second by Mr. Whitcomb. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Gleason, aye. Mr. Whitcomb?
Aye.
Mrs. Lot?
Aye.
Mrs. Motley?
Aye.
Mrs. Stearns? Aye. Mrs. Wrestler?
Aye. Item 4.7.
And lastly, 4.7 is the revised MOU between District 228 and South Suburban College as presented at committee of the whole. Superintendent is recommending these revised changes for full board approval.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Motley, second by Mr. Whitcomb. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Motley?
Aye.
Mr. Whitcomb?
Aye.
Mrs. Gleason, aye. Ms. Lot?
Aye.
Mrs. Stearns? Aye. Mrs. Wrestler?
Aye. Item 4.8, Dr. Lisa Leo-Weiser.
Board members, item 4.8 is a list of reoccurring annual software purchases and renewals for special education. As presented at the committee of the whole meeting last week, the superintendent is recommending it for full board approval.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Whitcomb, second by Ms. Motley. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Whitcomb?
Aye.
Mrs. Motley?
Aye.
Mrs. Gleason, aye. Ms. Lot?
Aye.
Mrs. Stearns? Aye. Mrs. Wrestler?
Aye. Item 4.9, Dr. Sikora.
Thank you, Mrs. Wrestler. Item 4.9 is the board travel for the IASB Joint Annual Conference 2024. As you may be aware, in February 2017, the Board of Education passed a resolution to revise board policy and procedures regulating the reimbursement of travel, meal, and lodging expenses for members of the Board of Education and its employees. Following the requirements of this resolution, I'm asking for full board approval for the Bremen District 228 Board Administration to attend an Illinois Association of School Boards Conference in November of 2024.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Ms. personnel recommendations. Dr. Goggins.
Thank you, Ms. Ressler. Under retirement, Dan Brown. Under resignation, Christopher Arnold, Victoria Neff, Katerina Savick, Cole Griffin, and Albert Nelson. Under leaves of absence, Josh Valineo. Under employment, William Carey, Kaylin Murphy, Nicholas DeForty. Under change of position, Kelly Eastman. Also under employment, Matthew Innocenti, Kelvin Potter, John Moore, Jacob Sladek, Carrie Maravka, Colleen Mancha, Caleb Treadwell, Terry Stevens, Gloria Barlotta, Roberto Sarli, Kelly Hone, Beth Conlon, Mary Bohenick, Sue Bednarski, Ariana Langton, Nate Vanderleest, Christina Cable, Dan Olson, Allison Bierlein, Arwa Ali, Allison Helikias, Nicole Goodfellow, Bridget Trunk, Stephen Bard, and James Thompson. These are being recommended to the full board for approval.
So moved.
Second. Moved by Mr. Whitcomb, second by Ms. Lot. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Whitcomb?
Aye.
Ms. Lot?
Aye.
Mrs. Gleason, aye. Ms. Motley?
Aye.
Mrs. Stearns? Mrs. Wrestler?
Aye. Any
Board
comment?
members, I would like to mention that, our new, social science supervisor is in attendance tonight. He certainly is here because he wanted to hear his name called, but mostly because his wife promised to take him out for dinner. So our new social science department chair is Nick DeForty.
Welcome. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Are there any comments from the public tonight? All right, if there are no comments, our announcements are as follows. Our next committee of the whole meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, July 9th at 6:45 PM at Bremen High School. And our regular board meeting is Tuesday, July 16th, 7 PM at Bremen High School. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second, moved by Mr. Whitcomb, second by Ms. Motley. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you guys, have a wonderful